As we look at classification and the six kingdoms, we can take a step back to see how they determine how related things are. And so the build a tree activity that you worked on looked at these cladograms. And so if you look at this example here, it kind of shows you again or reminds you how to read these. So notice that organism A and B share a common ancestor, and you'll find that ancestor at point 3. C and D share a common ancestor, and you'll find that common ancestor at point 4. And then C, D, and E, okay, the last place that all three of them weave would be at point 2. And then if you want to find where the most common ancestor for all 5 of them together would be, that's here at point 1. You're going to have the oldest ones at the bottom and the most recent or modern ones near the top. And again, just to review what you went through in your activity with the Build a Tree lab, you have unique ancestors for organism 3 here, common ancestors of organism B and C here, and then common ancestors of A, B, and C at this point right here. Looking at this tree here, it says which groups are least related. So probably the ones that share ancestors that are all the way back here. So that would be like maybe the trilobites and the insects. If you see that their common ancestors all the way back at this very end here. If they ask you which ones are most closely related, you're going to look for the one that has the most common or modern ancestor closer to the ends or the tips. And so that would be these two here, because if you notice, their point of connection is going to be closest to the end. In looking at the activity you did earlier, looking at the animal sort, you can see that we have different phyla in the animal kingdom here, and it's saying which group is most closely related to the chordates. And so those are the things that have a backbone. And so if you look, here are the chordates, and the one that has the most close common ancestor are the echinoderms. So these are the sea stars, starfish, and those groups that have the most common ancestor of things with a backbone. Looking at this picture, it says that is C more closely related to A and B or to D and E? The answer to this is found by looking at where is the most common ancestor. So the ancestor to A, B, and C would be right here. The answer to C, D, and E would be right here. So notice that this one here is a lot more recent than this one back here. So the answer is D and E. This is similar to what you were asked to do with the information in the plant cladogram earlier. And you were asked to rearrange the order. So you had 1, 2, 3, so you could see which traits were in which order in order to put your cladogram together. And so notice that in these characteristics, we have the names or groups here, the taxa, and then the traits here. Remember, these are called derived characters. And the way derived characters work is anything that is found before you see this word means that they don't have it. So the lancelet group, they do not have a vertebral column. The lampreys, those are the jawless fish, they don't have jaws. Turtle, salamanders, tuna, they don't have hair. So derived characters, basically from that point forward, the organisms will have those in the cladogram. Scientists can look at evolutionary relationships and DNA to determine how closely related organisms are. So in this particular example, looking at a particular protein, they looked at what are the differences in amino acids between two different organisms and created these trees based on that. So notice there's very few changes between the horse and the donkey. So notice they're more closely related or more closely